coming out on a press conference today announcing a new 6-year contract extension for our head baseball coach, Scott Stricklin. Let's open up the floor for a general statement from Coach Stricklin, and then we'll go to questions.
Okay, thanks, Todd. First of all, I'd like to thank President Lefton, Vice President Greg Floyd, and Athletic Director Joel Nielsen for this opportunity. And to be the head coach at my alma mater is a great honor for me and my family. And Kent State means an awful lot to me, and it means an awful lot to our entire family and our coaching staff. And it's, I think it's a commitment shown by the university, but it's also a commitment shown by our coaching staff. And this is a great fit. We've made it work for the last 8 years. And as a coaching staff, we're all thrilled. Coach Burke-Beck, Coach Daly, and I, we're all thrilled to be together again for our 9th season. And we're looking forward to trying to get ourselves back to Omaha where we were last year.
Questions?
I want to talk about the big picture. Have you seen any of the ramifications of the Omaha trip yet? I mean, recruiting-wise or otherwise, besides your new contract?
There's no question in recruiting. I can remember one of the first phone calls I made when I became the head coach in 2004. It was a player named Eric Surkamp, and Eric's pitching in the major leagues right now. And the first question he asked me was, "Is Kent State Division I?" So just the exposure that we had. Everyone knows who we are. When we went out to recruit, whether it be me or Coach Burke-Beck or Coach Daly, everybody recognized Kent State. Everyone was excited about what we did. Everyone followed what we did. So there's no question that the recruit pool has opened up a little bit more because of that.
Have you been able to take advantage of it?
Yes, we have. We feel like the freshman class that we have in right now, we felt like it was one of the best classes we ever had. And we've got several commitments right now. Obviously, I'm not allowed to talk about those guys until they sign in November. But we've got several high-level commitments right now that we feel great about, and they're going to be great additions to our program.
You don't negotiate against yourself, but you didn't want to leave, right? I mean, this is where you want to be for the long haul.
To be honest with you, it was a very easy decision. Didn't really get into a process with anybody else. Didn't really allow it to get that far. Just made the decision. I talked to my wife, and we thought about it for a few days, whether or not we want to try to take that other step. And we looked at everything. We talked together as a family. We included our kids in the decision, and it was very unanimous that we wanted to stay here. Our coaching staff felt the same way too, that we've got a very good thing going here. And it would have been awfully tough to leave, I can tell you that, but it never really got that far. Kent State came to us with the contract extension, and it was something that I thought showed an awful big commitment from them, and we wanted to show that commitment back.
Scheduling, does anybody not want to play it, or does anybody want to play it different now that this has happened?
Well, that's always happened from time to time. I think more so now people would want to play us. In the past, I've had coaches tell me, "We know you're really good, but our fans don't know that. So if you come down here and beat us, an SEC team or an ACC team, we'll keep those teams nameless." But we've heard that statement before. But now with teams and fan bases knowing who we are, we've certainly had a lot of interest in teams wanting to play us. So yeah, our schedule is going to remain the same. We're going to play very good teams early on. I know next year we open up with Arizona, the defending national champion in 2014. That's who we open up with. And we've had several SEC teams ask us to open up 2015 with them. And playing us in February is a lot different than playing us in June. Right. I understand that. But, scheduling is going to remain a constant for us.
You probably see this more than we do. How are you, the Kent State U, compare with some of these other teams now? Facilities, amenities, whatever. You're top of the level here in the MAC, and I would think even in Big Ten stature in some ways. Can you give us a picture of where you realistically see the program right now?
Well, there's been a tremendous amount of commitment to baseball just recently all across the country. When you look at some of the new stadiums that are going up, and Schoonover Stadium is a beautiful facility. However, part of this whole deal was Kent State has stepped up, and we're going to do lights now at Schoonover Stadium. We're going to have a new parking area and a new plaza for fans to come in. We've had a huge amount of donations come in the last 3 months that we're going to be able to build an indoor hitting and pitching facility on site. So we're going to upgrade our facilities to try to keep up with everybody else. Facilities are very nice here. I don't think it's the main reason people come to Kent State. People come to Kent State because of the tradition that we have, because of the coaching staff and the atmosphere that we have in our program, the players that have left here and gone on to have greater success. So the facilities are certainly important, but I think the tradition that we've been able to build up over the last 20 years, I think that's one of the big reasons why kids come to Kent State. But to answer your question of where we are, where this program is, it's at a point where I think we're just going to continue to get better. And that's one of the things that I tell recruits and I tell anyone that will listen, this is the best time to be at Kent State because what's going on, and I'll say that next year, and I'll say that the year after, because it just keeps getting better within the athletic department, within the university, and the city of Kent, of everything that's going on. It's just a great time to be here.
Maybe another way to throw it, you don't see folks recruiting against you in terms of if they don't have whatever.
No, that doesn't happen, and if it does, it's very subtle. But you know what we actually like it when that happens a little bit, because when they actually come on campus and see what we have and see how we do things, I think it works to our advantage. But no, Kent State baseball is very healthy. I don't think it's ever been at a better point in its history, and it's going to continue to get better.
Coach, when you were hired, when you got this job, somebody asked you, is your goal to keep this program at its current level? And you said no. I believe that our goal should be to get to Omaha, and I'm doing everything we can to get there. And that was back 03, 04. Did you ever imagine that it would actually happen?
Well, that's what we did talk about in 2004, and I think Marlo wrote the article. That article is hanging in the guest bedroom in our house, and that's what we talked about, getting to the next level. We'd been at the regional level. Coach Hall and Coach Rembelak before me did great jobs of getting teams to regionals, but we had to get through and somehow get to a super regional. You get to a super regional, you have a chance to get to Omaha, and that's what the goal was. And we said it with Lyon Kennedy. I said 5 years. That's what we're going to look at. And it took us 8, so it took us 3 years longer than what we'd hoped. But the other thing that we talked about was trying to draw the interest of the community, to get them to come out and watch us play. And if the interest right now is any indication of what we're going to get in the spring, I think we're going to get great crowds. We're going to play games under the lights. We should have some expanded seating. So we're really looking forward to the community embracing our team and watching great baseball for years to come.
When do you think that hitting and pitching thing is going to be like?
Well, we're hoping for the spring. The lights are, right now the schedule is the lights are going to go up in November. They've got if you go out to the field right now, you can see the stakes where they've surveyed everything and the new parking lot and plaza to go into the stadium. We're hoping that's all done in the spring. The money for the hitting facility has been raised, and so that money's sitting there waiting. We're waiting for the drawings to come back, for the cost to come back, but we're very, very close to getting that done.
Any of your guys that are in the majors contribute? I mean, you don't have to name names. I'm just wondering can you tell me like where the bulk of all this came from?
The money that we've received so far, all from former players, all from alumni. And there are certainly some other guys that we've been in contact with that have a great deal of interest in, and we're just going to continue to try to keep people involved in our program.
Did you order the same weather you got last spring here?
We're going to try. We're going to try. It was a great. I mean, when you look at all the reasons we were able to go to Omaha, I think number one, we stayed healthy. I mean, our team, no one got hurt. It was amazing how healthy our team stayed. But being able to get outside in January, we practiced so many times outside before we went to play our first game. So we had basically 3 or 4 extra weeks of practice outside that we normally wouldn't get. And I think that played a little role in it. Our travel last year, I think, played a role in it. We laugh as coaches. We went out to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and it was a tough trip. It was tough travel. We have to fly into El Paso and drive up, and it was a tough weather weekend, very tough travel. Then we turned right back around and went out to Pepperdine and Fresno, and it was the coldest weekend on record. In Malibu, it was 50 degrees, and we were freezing out there. And we did that back-to-back weekends, and I think that played a big role in what we were able to do when we made that trip to Oregon. We were already battle-tested. At the time, I didn't think too much of it. I wasn't happy with my scheduling, but I think it worked to our advantage. Our kids had already been across the coast twice, and we were ready for that challenge.
fall? I mean, just the players after going through what they did?
I don't think so. I mean, our kids are thing that I talked about last year. We've got a lot of blue collar, hardworking kids. We've talked about the sense of entitlement. We've talked about overconfidence. We've made sure that doesn't exist. And that's a battle. Anytime that you have a lot of success, it's interesting to see how people react to it. And that's the one thing that we're going to just make sure as a coaching staff that our kids understand that it's still going to take the same amount of hard work to get back there. And that's what all we're trying to do is get back to Omaha. People in other sports, in basketball and football, they talk about winning a national championship. In baseball, you just hear people saying we want to get to Omaha. And that's what our goal is, get back to Omaha and see what happens there.
Did you guys start talking about this extension within days of coming home from Omaha?
We got back on Thursday evening, and I was in Joel Nielsen's office 1 o'clock on Friday. So it was. I think the discussions were already in the works behind closed doors. It was not talked about in Omaha. Really, there wasn't much talked about in Omaha except for us trying to beat Arkansas or Florida or South Carolina. And when the game was over, that's when Joel Nielsen approached me and said he'd like to sit down and talk with me on Friday when we got back, and we did. And I'm glad it all worked out.
I still have people talking about winning in Omaha. I mean, do you still have people saying, I can't believe that, kind of?
Yeah, and it doesn't get old either. It's a lot of fun to talk about, and you see people that you haven't seen in a while, and that's the first thing they talk about. The thing that's special to me is my friends that are Kent State alums, or friends that know me, that have friends that know they know me. I mean, just the chatter that went on with the text messages and the emails and the Twitter and all the things that people were really involved with this. And again, I always go back to the reason why I think it took not only Northeast Ohio, but really Ohio and Pennsylvania by storm was our kids are from here. We don't have kids from all over the place. Our kids are from right here. So there's a lot of people that have, certain degrees of separation from our players that are pretty close. And I think that was a big reason that people could relate to our team and they appreciated what we did.
How much of the balancing act now is keeping that flavor while still extending your recruiting window?
Well, again, we don't want to go too far away from what we've done. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But certainly there has been some interest. We have been getting phone calls and emails and inquiries from kids outside of that normal radius that we work within. But that being said, we're going to try to get the best players that we can, and we're going to look in our home base first. And that's in this recruiting class. You're going to see that it's pretty close to the same, that we're going to recruit kids from this area. And but if a kid does pop up that has some Kent State interest, that happens to be in California or Texas or Florida, we're certainly going to look into it. But we're going to look in our backyard first.
How much of that is generated from you guys, and how much of it is generated from, a letter, a phone call, an email? Hey, I saw you guys. I'm interested. How much?
Really, a lot of that. I mean, most of the interest that we've gotten from kids outside of our area has come from I watched you on TV, and kids that maybe are being recruited, some by the SEC, or the ACC or the Big 12 or the big conferences. But you know what? There's a place where maybe I can go stand out. And so yeah, we've gotten some interest from those kids certainly that saw us on TV, and that's the thing with our sport. Every high school baseball player in the country was watching the College World Series, and it's just something that's so special, and so everyone knows who we are now, and now it's our job as a coaching staff to continue to build on that.
How big of a plus is it to have, it's not like football, basketball where you watch it all year. You see Kent State on September in football and October in football, and same with basketball. With baseball, by and large, it's the end of May and June. It's a concentrated window and a concentrated picture where you guys can, where the sport is on TV and magnified. One, obviously you got to get there to make it happen, but two, how much of a hit is that?
Well, I mean, again, I think it's the numbers that were thrown out there. I mean, the billions of people that actually had contact with us, whether it be TV or media or Twitter or whatever it was. It's just amazing how many people saw that and saw Kent State and saw us perform. But it's just such a tradition in college baseball and in college sports. It's one of the, I mean, most of you were there. It's one of the greatest events that sports can put on. And just very proud to be a part of that. And but yeah, I think it's before Wimbledon. You know, ESPN has that nice little niche there. They play it up, and ESPN does a great job of making sure everybody knows who's playing and when they're playing. And Omaha is it's a special, unique place, and just really proud to be a part of that.
Scott, how much does it mean to see your players drafted by major league clubs? I talked to some people in other sports, especially they say it's big to have our players drafted in the first or the second round. What does it mean for Kent State to see Kent State drafted by Kent State University at the major league draft in New Jersey?
Well, it's a big part of our program. We had 6 more players drafted this year. We had 5 the year before and 7 the year before that. So that's something that our kids come here. They want to play baseball. They want to get an education, but they want to play professional baseball as well. And we're going to try to push them towards that. All 3 of the members of our coaching staff, we all played professionally, so we kind of know what it takes to get there. But it's a big recruiting tool. We talk about our kids. They're going to come in here. They're going to win championships. They're going to develop into better players, have a chance to be drafted, and they're going to graduate with a great degree. Those are the 3 things that we talk about with our recruits. And we've got a draft board in our locker room that just kind of shows it when recruits come in there and they look at the sheer numbers of players that have been drafted out of Kent State. It's mind-boggling.
One other thing, excuse me for coming in late, but what does it mean for Kent State and the MAC in general to have a tournament like you have in a facility like All-Pro Freight Stadium?
Well, you know what? Avon was a great host. The last few years we've been in Chillicothe, Ohio, and we've won 3 straight championships in Chillicothe. So leaving there, we were a little hesitant to leave there just because we'd had so much success. But going to Avon, I mean, they put on a first-class tournament. It's a beautiful stadium. We had great crowds up there. And, a lot of people got to see us play that maybe wouldn't normally see us play up in this area. And then once we won that, people started following us. And the more we won, the more people followed us. And it was really exciting for me that the other programs in our conference were following us and rooting for us. I kept getting texts from other coaches. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope Kent State wins tonight. It was kind of funny. And I know players from other teams were watching and rooting for us too. And that meant a lot to us. I think it meant a lot to Kent State. It meant a lot to the Mid-American Conference and really Northern baseball in general for us to do what we did to show everybody it's possible.
Coach, how much of your decision to stay is based on the fact that now you know Kent State can be a player nationally, and finishing in the national top 5, and that you don't necessarily have to go to a bigger name school to win a national championship?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, I think that the biggest key in this for me is this is where I grew up. This is my alma mater. It means a lot to me to be here at Kent State. But to know that we can win here and win here on a national level, that's extremely important to me. The commitment here at Kent State is here for baseball. So to know that we can win here and be consistent on a national level, that means a lot. And President Lefton and Greg Floyd and Joel Nielsen have shown that they're willing to make the commitment to make this a national program, and that's exciting for all of us.
In the past few months, have you gotten a phone call or a note from somebody that was, I don't know, kind of blew you out of the water? Just, I don't know who it would be, but
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten a few. Gotten a few that can't believe he was watching. Can't believe that they noticed that we were doing that. But yeah, more than anything, just getting the emails and the letters from alums that I've never met, that didn't go to school when I was here. Alums from the 1950s and 60s. That it meant so much to them to watch Kent State, and they wore their blue and gold proud, and especially people in Florida. I got a lot of those. Wearing their blue and gold in Florida and Gator Country, and doing it proudly, just like we did, last year or 2011 in Texas. A lot of people in Texas are very proud when we beat Texas. They can wear their blue and gold colors, and people down there know who we are, and that means a lot.
anybody I would know that you couldn't believe they were watching?
No. No, I'd rather leave names out of that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay.
Thanks, guys.
for coming.